This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Abs. Everybody wants them, but not everybody has them. Actually, that's a lie. Everybody does have them, otherwise we'd snap backwards under the force of our spinal erectors, which would be disgusting. But not everyone has visible six-pack abs, which is what everybody really wants, and not everybody has the powerful midsection that they might like. So how do you get that? Well, according to a lot of people, the answer is not sit-ups. A lot of people think that sit-ups are going to cause you more harm than good, they're going to injure you, or that they're completely a waste of time. I, however, disagree with that statement, and I'm going to explain why I think sit-ups are actually really good for building solid abs. You've just got to make sure that you do it right. Let's start by defending sit-ups. So why is it that people don't like them to start with? Well, one issue is that the sit-up appears not to train the abs in the most sensible way. When people talk about ab training, they're typically referring to the rectus abdomini, the sheet of muscle covering the center of the core that then has a segmented appearance to give you the look of a six-pack. The thing is, this muscle actually works all day to keep the body upright. Its primary function, as I alluded to earlier, isn't actually to flex the spine to bend you forwards, but rather to keep it straight via an equal push and pull with the spinal erectors. Therefore, the claim goes, the best way to train the core is with bracing exercises like your planks, your cat camels, your dead bugs, or your hollow body holds. These emulate the way we use our core in the real world. Now, I'm not against this kind of training. In fact, I personally like it too. It's crucial if you want to get good at hand balancing. It can help you to develop good movement patterns, address issues like a pelvic tilt, etc., etc. They can prevent injuries, they can reduce pain, they're really good. And they'll even give you a flatter looking stomach because you'll be training the transverse abdomini, which wraps around the stomach and holds it all in nicely. So this kind of training has aesthetic benefits too. Thing is though, they won't give you that really ripped and defined looking six-pack aesthetic. And at the same time, they're not going to make you really powerful when it comes to forcefully contracting your core. Only by taking your abs through a range of motion against greater than usual resistance will you see some changes. And this is why you can feel the abs burn after doing enough sit-ups. You're not going to create micro tears by just holding a hollow body position. And this is one of the key factors for hypertrophy. You don't have much mechanical tension. It's just not going to give you that really bulging abdominal midsection look in the same way that holding a dumbbell at 90 degrees isn't going to give you bulging biceps. The body just doesn't work like that, especially if it's a light dumbbell. Now, some people will say you don't even need to have big, strong abs if you want a visible six-pack. They'll tell you that it's all about diet, and as long as your body fat percentage is low enough, then you'll have visible abs. I personally think this line of thinking is nonsense. The same thing is true about the biceps. Someone else said this and I can't remember who. But if you have low enough body fat percentage, you're going to see your biceps. Everybody has biceps. Same for your pecs. We want to make them bigger and more defined. And that's where the training comes in. So why are we treating abs so differently? And if you want proof that training will give you bigger abs, try looking at yourself in the mirror, contracting your core and not contracting your core. Contracting your core is how you could look all the time if you train your abs in this way. And at the same time, you do also use your midsection. You do use your abs for more than just bracing and holding positions. You use them when performing flips, for example. You need to very explosively crunch the abs in that scenario. Likewise, use them when pushing something or pulling something behind. When carrying something on your back. In many scenarios, you do need to flex the spine with power and force. It will make you more athletic. Even when throwing, there's some spinal flexion going on. Even when punching, all of it. So the other reason that people don't seem to like sit-ups is that they think it's bad for your spine. They'll tell you that you shouldn't be flexing your spine under resistance. A lot of people assume that's bad because they assume anything involving the spine is highly dangerous. And this, of course, is nonsense. The spine is meant to flex, and we actually flex it all the time. Like I said, in all those different scenarios. But even just when we're picking something up off the ground, even the best deadlifter in the world will round their back a little bit. Especially when picking up something other than a barbell, like a kid or a box or a pushchair. It's actually by avoiding ever flexing your spine that you're going to make yourself more susceptible to injury. A slightly more legitimate version of this argument, what some people say is that sit-ups encourage you to hoist yourself up with momentum, often placing unnecessary load on the lower back, often completely missing the point as well by engaging the hip flexors to power themselves through the movement, rather than engaging the core. When you do this, there's a greater risk of hurting your lower back, but you're also not really training the abs. There's also a risk of pulling on your neck with your hands, and you can hurt yourself that way. And this is why you might hear people say that sit-ups will hurt you. It's also why a lot of people might say that sit-ups are easy, because you just explode through the movement using mostly your hip flexors and let momentum carry you the rest of the way. Anyone with any experience in the gym could do hundreds of sit-ups, right? But here's the problem. None of these things are issues with the sit-up itself. The issue is with the way it's being performed. It's being performed incorrectly. And you'll know if you're doing it this way, because if you're throwing yourself up and if you're using your hip flexors, you might see your feet come off the ground. That's why I see a lot of people asking someone to hold their feet before they start doing sit-ups. It's actually because they're doing it incorrectly and engaging the legs more than the abs and probably throwing themselves up as well. So next time, try removing the momentum entirely. Instead, get into the sit-up position and then lower yourself by unfurling the spine. Unfurling is such a good word. One vertebrae at a time. Then do the same thing in reverse. Use your abs and not your hips. Now let me guess, suddenly the sit-up doesn't seem so easy, and in fact, Mr. I can do hundreds at a time is probably going to struggle at more like 30, maybe 20 or 10. The fact is, you might not be able to do any at all like this. In that case, there is an easier variation, just straighten your arms out in front of you, or you can do a crunch instead. A crunch is simply a sit-up where you're focused more on rolling your abs and less on bringing yourself all the way up. You should really feel the abs contract once again, and once you can't go any higher up, that's your crunch done. If the sit-up is still too easy on the other hand, no problem. There are plenty of ways you can make it harder still. One is to hold a weight of some sort. At the gym you can use a cable machine and then crunch down against resistance, or the ab crunch resistance machine, or at home or at the field you can just use like a light kettlebell or a weight plate. Trust me, this strategy will give you abs much faster than the various holds. It's the difference, like I say, between holding a light dumbbell at 90 degrees or doing 12 sets of heavy dumbbell curls for the biceps. No brainer. Once you start adding resistance and actually going through a full range of motion and feeling the muscle work, now you're going to start seeing progress in your core, and even at a higher, slightly higher body fat percentage, you might start to get visible abs. One of my favorite variations is to put a stick behind my head, but in front of my hands. The focus here is not to pull on the head. That's important, otherwise you can hurt your neck. This completely isolates the abs by removing any momentum that you could create with your legs or arms, and it makes it far more challenging. Fun fact, it was my step-granddad who introduced me to the world of training and martial arts, and we had this kind of Mr. Miyagi and Daniel relationship, and the first exercise he had me doing was this one, and he challenged me to do one sit-up with the stick behind my head, not pulling on my head. So that's pretty much what got me into training. You can also add rotation here if you want to train the obliques a little bit, and you can even do it on like an incline bench. Conversely, you can lean over a Bosu ball or similar in order to get a larger range of motion and contract the abs more at an extended position. This is called a myotatic crunch, and I think I first learned about this one reading Tim Ferriss's book. It can double as a nice form of mobility training for the thoracic spine as well. So yeah, leave sit-ups alone. Sit-ups are beautiful. You might just not be doing them right, and you might just need a harder variation. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. Did you already like the sit-up, or have I convinced you to start using sit-ups, or do you still think they suck? If you like this kind of training that combines ideas from different schools, whether it's calisthenics, weightlifting, powerlifting, running, then you might enjoy my ebook and training program, Super Functional Training 2.0. I'll put a link in the description down below. There's a mild discount on over the summer. But either way, thank you so much for watching this one, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now. By the way, guys, this video was sponsored by Squarespace. As you probably know by now, Squarespace is a website building platform that makes it extremely easy for anybody to create their own website in no time at all. I'm talking literal minutes. It does this thanks to a very intuitive drag and drop system, tons of ready-made templates that you can then customize to your heart's content, and the result is a highly professional, modern-looking website which is good enough to power some of the biggest brands on the web. So whether you're just a hobbyist looking to get started, or whether you're looking for something really fully featured for your business, Squarespace has got you covered. This is also thanks to the tons of features and plugins that they offer. They have search engine optimization tools, for example. This will make sure you appear at the top of Google searches so more people come to your website. You've got e-commerce tools, a fully integrated commenting system with threaded comments, replies, and likes. If you offer a service, you can do things like appointment scheduling so that you can book clients and run your whole business through your website. There's so much here, and it's such a simple and easy tool. There's really no reason not to give it a go and build your own website, I say, in a very short amount of time. If you'd like to find out more, then head over to squarespace.com, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Bioneer and you'll get 10% off your first website. Thanks so much again for watching, guys. Thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this one, and bye for now.